welcome to an episode of Book Watch. A late one this week. Sorry about that. I had the unfortunate privilege of driving for 4 hours in one direction, only to drive back home 4 hours in the same direction. So that was good. That was my Monday, essentially. So I was a bit knackered. So yeah, we are doing it today. We were hoping there might be some, news, something to talk about today, but unfortunately, that has not come to pass. So instead, we're just going to talk about what we want to see, what things interest us in the upcoming Dataslate. And when I say we, I don't mean me and my separate personality. I don't mean Davey and SwiSSly. No, I mean myself and the wonderful number 3 Tyranids player in the UK. I think he should have applauded himself for that. But that is,
to be fair,
that is JP. How are you doing, JP? You good?
I'm very good. I'm enjoying that I managed to get third place in four events. I think I did 5, but I did less than everyone else. So I'm very happy with where I got to. Definitely outperformed where I thought I was going to be, and very close to the top. I think if I'd have had one more good result at a local event, I might have been challenging Nathan at the top and have got at least second. But I'll take it. I'll take second. I'll take third.
What did you think you would get at the start of the year?
I was hoping for top 10. I didn't think I'd be anywhere near the top. I don't know where the rankings ended up, but I'll have a quick look while we're talking.
Yeah, I think not last year, but the year before. So obviously the season's finished now, if you don't know, for the UKTC guys. So we're talking about the UKTC specifically. So yeah, JP got 3rd this year. I did terribly because I just had a horrible year. The year before, though, I think I got 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th. It was one of those numbers. But yeah, very gutted with this year's results. So hoping to kick it off at Coventry, the 3-day event I'm doing at the end of this month. So that's going to be really good. I don't know what I'm taking to that yet, but we will find out. Doing a bit of a... oops, that's a bit loud. There we go, that's gone. Yeah, I'm still deciding what to take. I am currently leaning towards Sam Pope's Synaptic Nexus list. Sam Pope is God. I love every list he makes. So I am thinking about that. And hopefully I can kick off the season with a bang. When's your next event, JP?
Well, my next event will be the Hearts ITT in November. So super hyped about that. Playing for 6++ this time around. So I'm on one of the teams for 6++. Just I'll let the boys in charge reveal all the information as we get towards who's on what team.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to attend, but I wouldn't love to attend because I hate team events. So there. I think I'm one of the. Well, I think. There quite a few people have dropped out. To be fair, so I think we've got 3 teams of 5, which is pretty strong. But there's 25 in the team, so there's 10 of us not making it. But no, it's going to be. The teams we're sending are really good. I was looking at those teams, those are good teams. So they're going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, we definitely stand a good chance of. I hope, depending on where all the teams line up, I think that any one of the 3 teams could definitely end up finishing top dog at the end of it all. I don't think it's going to be like normally it's like Alfaris do the best this time round.
Yeah.
A bit closer.
Well, John, no one's listening, right? No one's listening. So you can tell me, right? Tell your boy, what are you thinking of taking?
Oh, it's hard. I'm torn between Evasion Fleet and Vanguard Onslaught. Vanguard Onslaught will be a meta call for the team. Basically, if we need an army that will basically go into almost anything and just score points, it'll probably end up being Vanguard. I think that there's less rough matchups for Vanguard, but also you can play a much heavier primary denial game in Vanguard. Mm-hmm. Whether it ends up being a bit monster heavier or with however many Morlocks there are, if I try the old upsy downsy with the Zone Throat unit to have a bit more punch, we'll wait and see. Obviously, the Dataslate might be the Dataslate might guide it. I feel that if obviously when we get into the details of it, I think if the monsters get hit, but the rest of the army kind of doesn't. Vanguard Onslaught, I think, again starts to increase the stuff again. It was occasionally running some monsters. It would either be Exocrines or maybe a Rupture or Warlock.
Your microphone's gone underwater again.
Oh, hang on. Hopefully that goes better.
That's better.
But we'll see. It's kind of a toss up. I think that Vanguard would be kind of more of a meta call for a team environment. I think if I was going solo, it would still probably end up being Invasion Fleet, depending on what obviously comes up in the data slate. Whenever that drops, it'll obviously drop. It's due this month, so it'll be in place before we get to teams. But we're all in the same place at the moment, aren't we? Like we can kind of decide what factions we all want to play. Obviously, for me, it's easy. I play one faction. I think I'll be playing Tyranids at the event. I don't think the rest of the guys are wanting me to YOLO out something different. They'll have to lend me for the event. So it'll basically be see what the data slate lands, see how it affects the other 4 faction choices, and then I'll go around that. So for example, if we had a heavy Tau gunline army, we're at risk of and you're risking running into more melee army, then obviously Invasion Fleet's the best choice. If we're expecting that I just need to get, say, a minimum of 8 points every single round, then Invasion Fleet might be the way, but Vanguard Onslaught also then has a much bigger appeal because it does just score points for fun. It's very hard to deny a Vanguard Onslaught list scoring points because turn 1 you just throw a unit of 10 Gene Stealers across the board. They then have to spend the entire turn dealing with them. You can move block a lot of stuff out. Hormagaunt's another good example of that. Gargoyles still are very good for that. And then you can just kind of pick up the points with the Elictors. You still get the 6-inch low knot, which honestly, when you're playing against some armies, when you're needing to terraform something and you just go, yeah, it doesn't matter where you move, this objective that's near me is going to be terraformed because you actually can't get to my Lictor. It's pretty appealing, especially on UKTC. But I think it's going to be a very deep conversation with the team to see where we all end up. Because again, I'm probably not going to be the 20-0 player that tries and goes 20-0 every round. I'm probably going to be put on as a defender to take out a rough matchup. It was like when we did the ITT. A good example. Sorry, we're kind of rolling this one. A good example of this was the ITT in Coventry at the beginning of the year. We had a World Eaters player on our team, and this was obviously the height of Chaos Space Marine power. You had your 3 units of 5 chosen with Demon Lords in it. And it was kind of like, well, we cannot put World Eaters into Chaos Space Marine. It's basically an instant loss. All right, we'll build a Tyranids list to take on Chaos Space Marines. It's what it did. It meant I actually won both my CSM games, but it allowed us to play around the fact that we could have an army that we could put up to CSM and not have a rough matchup into. So teams is going to be good fun. And then the next event after that is another teams event in February, because between now and then, I'm getting married, having a honeymoon, and tournaments don't fit in with that schedule.
Yeah, it's tough to get all that in. Cool, nice. I did try Vanguard on, so obviously those who are long-term fans of the channel might know that I did take Vanguard Onslaught. Like this time last year, I was on a big run with it. I did okay at some events, so it was all right. I was still trying to figure it out. I decided to take it for the first time since then at the weekend at an RTT, and boy did I eat shit. I had 3 games. So first one was against a very good player, a local guy called Joe. He was taking Votan, and I thought I was like, okay, I've turned 3. I'm comfortably winning this by about 10, 15 points. And then he goes, oh, I could secret mission, couldn't I? And I was like, oh yeah, you could. And then he did, and then he won by 10. So
which secret mission did he take?
He took get his warlord on my objective.
Wow.
Now,
wow.
Yeah, well, the thing was here. So this list, the fun idea of this list, right, was it was based off a list I showed recently where it was 3 Tyrannofexes and then Warrior Blob, Gene Stealer Blob, each with a character. So like loads of hammers, I suppose, in that sense. And then like a bunch of Hormagants. And then something I really wanted to try was 20 Termagants, right? Now you might think, you're mental. And I was, because what I wanted to do was reactive move them D6 plus 6, essentially, with the strat for 2 CP. Expensive, but boy, if you can roll, like if they reactive move 9, that's pretty strong. So that was the dream. So I thought I'd see how that went. So by the time, obviously, Votan quite happily destroyed 20 Termagants. So as soon as I put one out, it was like gone. So what I did was I was like, oh wow, he's got his big Terminator blobs on one side of the board. I'm just going to pick up everything on that side of the board and run it over to the other side, and then just wipe out his army over there. Hold 3 objectives, win game.
Yeah.
The problem was he then just stuck his warlord was over there, and then when he decided to do that, I was like, "Oh, I've just moved my entire stuff over there. You can't do that." So anyway, then I played a nice lad who was I beat him, and I can't think what he was playing now. Oh, I can't remember. But it was Tau, and it was a bloodbath. Just stuck him in his deployment zone. See you later. And then the last game was against, of course, it would be against Knights. No one plays Knights, and this guy brought 2 giant ones that my rupture cannons thought, well, I might just roll 1s and 2s this game. I tried to block it with bodies, and that worked for about 3 turns. And then after that, I was too late. I was dead. So I ended up losing by 1 point in that game, which was pretty hard to take, but it was fun. It was a good game. So I had a good time, but I'll certainly not be playing that detachment unless something amazing happens in the Dataslate. What else was there going on? Oh, yes, I got to the final of the King of the Ping. So if you don't know what King of the Ping is, if you are a member of the 6++ community on Discord, you can enter our online TTS league. It's basically like the Champions League if you want to follow football or soccer. It's like the Champions League format. So there's group stages. The winner of every group then goes on to a playoff and then the final. So I won my group. I then went to play through a few different people to get to the final, which was against Josie Cartwright. She's on Team England. So I was like, oh, wow. Okay, tough game. She's on Jackal Spam, and I, for the playoffs, decided, again, for a bit of a laugh, to play on Ending Swarm. So it was, I think, 120 World Eaters models versus 150 Termagants and shit. So it was good fun. But unfortunately, I forgot how to play 40k last night. It was last night when we played, and decided, you know what? I've never taken fixed in Prior Nexus. Why not just do it in the final of a competition? And that was an error. I thought I could kill all those jackals. Man, they are so durable with the demon prince. Because he gives them a 5-up invuln. If they go to ground. If I can't remember what the ins and outs of it is, but essentially they get 5-up invuln half the time, and then they've got the 5-up feel no pain, so you just can't kill them. I thought to myself, my Termagant Spine Fist will just wipe them out. It'll be fine. I've got Exocrines, they'll do great. Angron I killed 3 times with rupture cannons, and it was good fun. But I ended up going down by about 20 points, which, you know what, I'll take that. Anyway. That's what we've been up to, guys. We'll get on with the show now. Cool. So let me sort this out. Boom. Cool. All right. So we are going to be talking today about the Dataslate. But I do want to open with one other thing. Obviously, I was quite happy with that. That's quite a fun thumbnail, isn't it, right?
It came out very well.
Yeah, I think it was all right. I think the whole game's getting good. Just about, anyway. We would be showing you lists, but someone else did that this week, so you'll be fine. There's go and watch their channel. Something's missing here. That's a shame. Right, well, I'm going to tell you guys. So before we get into the units that we think are going up and down in the Dataslate, one thing I'd love to invite you to is free. It is a bit of a fun thing we're doing on the Discord, but I've opened it up to you guys. A Dataslate predictions accumulator. So what you do is you click on the link that's in the description of this video. It'll take you to a Google Sheet doc. You put your name there and your predictions for what's getting a buff and what's getting a nerf. And then the submissions end on Tuesday. I'll be saving it on Tuesday, so there's no more additions can be made. And whoever gets the most right or the most points, because it's a point system, will be hoisted and told to be and essentially become the king of Tyranid players. So you can go and do that. The link is in the description below. I will check that document at the end of the show to see if there's any spicy takes. I do certainly know one spicy take that's already in there, not mine. What was it? I can't remember now, but it's funny. So go and have a look at that document. It is in the descriptions the link is in the description below. Click on that and it'll take you to the document. All right. Completely free to enter, and we'll have a good laugh, and we'll talk about it next time the show is on. Probably next week if there's a Dataslate. Cool. So let's talk about the units we think should go up and down. We've picked 4 each because there's, we could be here all night, couldn't we? So I've got my 4 first. So my fault. I've chosen 2 up and 2 down. I'm a very balanced individual. I'm all about like, you get some, you take some, you give some, etc. John's just decided 4 units that this need to go down in points.
I'd like to caveat that is solely because Davey stole 2 of my ideas for what could go up. So I was left with fighting the internal balance fight, which I'll have to do.
I think John's playing to the crowd, to be quite honest. All right, we have some stuff in there. We'll quickly go through chat. So we've got Andrew Chesworth has just become a member. Hello, Andrew. That was 10 hours ago. Harry Hickman became a member, and that was 7 hours ago. So congratulations to those 2. Wolf Hunt says hi. Brain Seller says hi, evening chaps. Shame you're not going to Coventry, mate. It would have been good to see you there. I know you're going to another one, so have a good time there. Nergo Matthew, legend of the community. Hello. Christopher Richardson, almost forgot, just got here in time. You're just in time. John C, hey team. And Mr. Monster. Mr. Monster, by the way, has a great channel. If you want to put the link to your videos or your channel in the chat, please do. More Tyranid content for the masses. All right, let's get on with it. So my first one, guys, is Tyrant Guard. So I love Tyrant Guard. I had a really good time playing them in Spain when I was at a GT in Barcelona recently. I got the rules slightly wrong, but hey, I still had a fun time. And I still didn't do very well. But they are fun to play. They are like the American footballers. They're ready to go. They want to fight. They're really cool. But they're not very good. Let's have a look at. So what we've done is I've looked on a website called Dirt Sheets. I should put that link in the description, but it's not there yet. I'll put it in later. And what that is a website that will tell you how often a unit is taken in like good lists or lists that perform well. So what you can see here is the detachment on the left and X and 1 plus. So either they've gone X and 1 or won an event or got in the top 10 or whatever. That is what we're looking at here. So in a simulation swarm, Tyrant Guard are in 100% of lists. Guys, there was 2 lists and they both had Tyrant Guard. Fine. Crusher Stampede, they're in 17% of lists. Invasion Fleet, they're in 12. Synaptic Nexus, they're in 20, which I believe is one list. And Vanguard Onslaught, 20% was 1, because I think there's 5 in total. And Vanguard Onslaught, unsurprisingly, they're not in any. Yeah.
Just before we carry on, Christopher's probably identified that we are currently over the how to make them better slide part of the deck.
God damn. All right, remove from scene. Let's go. Boom. Okay, that's annoying that they can't hear us when we're not on the screen.
Can we go to the top and maybe black out the picture?
How do we do this? I'm just going to have to... Guys, I'll just tell you what the picture says, all right? I'll just tell you what the picture says. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, we'll start again. Bad rule. It's a 5 up, feel no pain. The chat just took over the show. That's great. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. So, the awful rule, 5 up, feel no pain on the one thing that they are protecting, right? Or that is leading them, which sucks. So really bad rule. If it was 5 up, feel no pain again on the entire unit, that'd be sick. Even if it was 6 up, that'd be really good. But no, it's bad. They're too expensive. They're 85 points. So for context, who are these guys competing with, right? These guys are competing with Warriors, 75 points, so 10 points cheaper and just kind of better. You've got Raveners, you've got Von Rein's Leapers, you've got this kind of row of like mid-bugs that do okay. And these guys just fall beneath them in terms of ability. And then finally, obviously, they've got that T8, but the 3-up save is really, really a flat tire for them, right? It sucks because you really want to be able to be super tanky, like Bullgrin, things like that. In our Discord, one of the guys was talking about them being essentially like Bullgrin if they had a 2-up save. Now, maybe that's too strong, right? Especially in Synaptic Nexus. Maybe it's too strong. But something's not right. But what do we like? It's T8, very nice. They're not criminally slow, right? They're not like movement 4 or 5. They're movement 6, not bad. And they're one of the few things in our codex that has damage 2, which I think is a big miss in our codex. After playing Vanguard Onslaught at the weekend, what I would have done for damage 2 infantry would be a lot of things. But however, even when they are damage 2, they hit on 4s. Wop, wop, wop. So, a bit disappointing. A bit disappointing. How do we make them better? Well, I think 75 points is probably too low, because once they're the same points as Tyranid Warriors, do you know what I mean? Like, not great. Maybe if they had the feel no pain all the time, as in like on the unit all the time, maybe. Yeah. If they had a 2-up save, which would be probably too strong, but would be quite funny. And then the catchphrase, you know, in catchphrase, when there's like a block covering one little bit, the catchphrase bit is Hive Tyrant leader bonus. So could the Hive Tyrant give them a bonus? And well, that would have to be a rule change, but I think that would be cool if that was available. But hey ho, that's kind of my take on Tyrant Guard. What's your thoughts on that, John?
It's one of those things. I think that they struggle with not being tanky enough for what they're doing. Like, they're a melee focused unit with a 3-up save, and outside of Invasion Fleet, there's no real extra protection. I don't think giving them a 2-up save is too much. I think that either they need to look at their damage. If they want them to be a damage output unit, then they need to go back. Because remember, before, right at the beginning of the whole format, they had 3 attacks on their damage 2, and now they only have 2 when the codex released. So in the index, they had 3 attacks. And I think they're just kind of they're kind of in the no man's land if they're not really know what they're wanting to do. Do you want them as a damage dealer, in which case you give them extra attacks and you make them hit on 3s, or do you want them as a tanky unit, in which case you have to give them a 2-up save and potentially a 5-up feel no pain when they're joined by a model? I think that's probably fine at the current points cost, because it's a big amount of points to put into the unit, but then it actually does what you kind of want it to do, where it survives and doesn't just get one tapped off the table by the majority of things. And it means that when you're facing things like Drukhari, when they have a load of anti-infantry weapons, you don't just get your Hive Tyrant mopped up by accident. When they put a load of wounds on, you're a 3-up save and you lose the unit to just mass anti-infantry firepower.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got Doom Melon in the chat saying Bullgrin get like 4 damage 2 attacks, by the way, and have a 2-up save and have 4-up invul. So, you know, I don't know how... chat, can you tell me how many points is Bullgrin? Are they 85 points for 3? That's what I'm interested in. Other hot takes. Hot take, Hive Guard are like Tyrant Guard, but better. Well, maybe we'll see Hive Guard in a little bit. Yeah, cool. So that is the take on Tyrant Guard. Let's have a look what's next. Psychophage. As some of you might know, I fucking hate psychophages. And I say that it's a love-hate relationship. These guys, go on, do Melon, tell me how many points of Bullgrin is, please. I do want to know. So psychophages. Psychophages are
90 for 3.
90 points for 3.
And they get -1 damage as well.
And they get -1 damage. God damn. Right, okay. I take it all back. Give us 2 armor.
Less tough, but they're actually tougher because they get the feel no pain -1 damage.
Yeah.
And an invulnerable save.
Yeah. Right, anyway, psychophages. So psychophages are a real bugbear of mine because I love them. I think they're great models. I loved taking them in Crusher Stampede when I was just having a bit of fun. I thought, what a great model this is. What a great, interesting kind of different profiles, things like that. Your budget monster kind of vibe. But let's have a look at what detachments they're in. They're in 100% of assimilation swarm lists. Of course they are. All 2 of them. They were in none of the good Crusher Stampede lists. 7% of an invasion fleet, which is, I think there was 30 of those. So like 1, of course. And then Synaptic Nexus it was in one of the Synaptic Nexus lists, and obviously no Vanguard. Well, why do they suck? Here's why I hate them, guys. They came down in points, and I'm a big fan of the fact they came down in points. But their attack profiles are so bad. They are so bad. D6 attacks, right? Are D6 plus 1 in melee, or one of the... One's melee, one's ranged. And as a result, they just don't really do anything. They stand around. And I think in 10th edition 40k, you can't really have a unit that just stands around. Maybe you can have a unit that does what the Psychophage does, but then late game comes into its own and then challenges for an objective or something. You know, I think of the game yesterday against Josie. She had a Demon Prince giving the aura, 4-up invuln aura to all the Jackals. Once I'd like whistled all the Jackals down, you've got a Demon Prince that just comes out and kills shit. Now, don't get me wrong, the Psychophage is 95 points. But even if it had a reliable 4 or 5 attacks, that would just make me feel, okay, I know what this thing can achieve. Because at the moment, you roll a dice, it could achieve literally nothing, or it could achieve something small. And that's not a high ceiling. I do like, though, this is what I like about it. It is difficult to get rid of. It has a 5-up feel no pain, 3-up armor, toughness, I think it's 9. Yeah. You know, they get in the way. They can do some stuff. I really had fun with them in Crusher Stampede, to be quite honest. When they get +1 to wound with the flame is quite funny. But then you still only get D6 shots. And it's infuriating. The 6++, the feel no pain, is fine, but it's kind of a meme. So the way I describe it is on a T-Fex, it gives a T-Fex 3 more wounds. It gives an Exocrine 2 more wounds. Well, it is when you add it up across, like, I guess in a Crusher Stampede list, you're probably having 8 monsters. Mm-hmm. And if all of them on average get 2 wounds extra, that's 16 wounds you're getting. If the Psychophage stays alive. It's good-ish. I would also argue a 5-up feel no pain stratagem in Invasion Fleets is miles better. So I'd rather just spend that and potentially, you know, whatever. But it's not bad. And then, of course, as I said before, I think it just looks awesome on the battlefield. Like, it is a cool-ass model to put on the battlefield. How do we make it better? I'm happy with the points of 95. You can't make it much cheaper. It's a monster, for Christ's sake, right? It's got to be reasonably pricey. And actually, I think 95 is still really low. What they need to do is fix those attack profiles. That's what I want to see. Any thoughts on that, JP?
I mean, I feel it is that problem that it doesn't do anything, but it's a use. I like them. I like it in theory as a model because your opponent can't just incidentally kill it like a unit of Termagants goes down to Bolt of Fire. Mm-hmm. Bolt of Fire will not scratch a Psychophage, and it's kind of that toss up between the two. And it's still got a decent amount of OC. It's 3 or 5 in Crusher if it's not wounded.
Yeah.
I
can't go through walls though.
It can go through walls in Crusher, which is nice.
Yeah, if you want to spend a CP on sending a monster with D6 damage through a wall.
Yeah, I think
D6 attacks.
I think if you solve the attack problem, and it's either you put a 2 in front of all of the D6s, so it's 2D6 plus X, or you make it D6 plus 3 or 4 or whatever, and then at least you have a minimum number of attacks. You have a maximum. It might feel like it actually does some damage. The devastating wounds on the combat attacks just is a meme when you only have 3 attacks or whatever.
Exactly.
If you were rolling 4 or 5 attacks, then it's less of a meme. You might actually do devastating wounds at some point, and the anti-psych is quite nice.
Did it used to have, when it first came out, did it have anti-psych 2-up?
Yes, and now it's 4-up.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite funny. Like, if Grey Knights or T-Suns were, like, number 1 in the meta, it'd be quite funny just to push 3 of these out and just go, let's see what happens. But again, D6 shots.
Exactly. I think, like you say, for me, the biggest issue with the model is that it doesn't die, but doesn't do anything, and it doesn't necessarily hold objectives particularly well. Yeah. It'd be nice if it did more damage. Then I think we're onto something that might be usable. I think in its current state, it could go down another 5 points, and you still wouldn't see it in the numbers you want to.
Yeah.
But you are at 95, 99, sort of the 90-point barrier. You're starting to get to a point where 3 of them cost 200 odd points, and it's like, well, I might as well just take 3 of them because it's 250 points or something, whatever ridiculous like that. I mean, if you could get 3 of these in an army for 250 points, I mean, that might be just feasible to put 3 monsters on the table for 200.
There's only so many channels in terrain sets, right? There's only so many places they can walk, and that's what I kind of. I mean, at that point, if they get much cheaper, they're going to be great objective. Like, just put it on your home objective and say, right.
They'll be great in Vanguard. They'll be great in Vanguard. You just sit one of them on the home objective and you never die. It's like,
yeah.
Spent 75 points on this monster and it just held an objective all game. We used to spend 75 points on a Biovore to do the same job. I know it did more,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I don't think you can make them too much cheaper without it just
no,
being
100%.
free in every list.
I don't think you make them cheaper. All I want is a bit of consistency on that goddamn gun. All right, let's go to the next one. So some controversial takes, and I know that our Discord is going to be very sad about these two that I'm going to show. But Tyrannofexes, and I'm going to say I'll take this on the chin, guys. I thought the rupture cannon change was a bit of a. I thought it was a bit fluffy at the time. I thought, it's all right, it's fine. Still a casino cannon. Boy, was I wrong. I was mega wrong on that. These guys are awesome. Like you regularly see three, you regularly see two, and actually one is probably rarer than the other, than two or three, right? They're very good. They blank the damage. They're T12. They've got a 2-up armor save. They really came into their own at WTC, where people just went, these are really hard to kill. I'm just going to put 3 in the list and then blow whatever my opponent's armor is to pieces. Like they're super good. And you see this in the detachment take-up. So in the simulation swarm, they're in 100%. Bit of a meme this now, isn't it? Crusher Stampede is in 86%. Invasion Fleet, 1 in 2 lists, over 1 in 2 lists have Tyrannofexes in. Synaptic Nexus, even Synaptic Nexus, a third of lists. And actually the list that I'm thinking about taking in Synaptic Nexus has 2. And even Vanguard Onslaught has space for these guys, right? They're very good. What makes them amazing? Rupture Cannon is awesome, especially if you mix it with reroll ones to hit in Synaptic Nexus, or an Exocrine giving you reroll ones to hit, or being next to a Hive Tyrant to reroll the dice. All these things just make that gun so much more reliable. And boy, your opponent like spits the dummy out when you say D6 plus 6 damage. They don't like it too much. So very good. Not only that, when it gets shot back, it just blanks the damage. Love it. Oh, you've done dev wounds, 6 dev wounds or something. Nah, no thanks. Not today. It is sub 200 points, which is also very good. A lot of our good monsters are over 200 points. If you think of like Swarm Lord, Hive Tyrant, things that are like, you really want one of those in the list because of the abilities that give. I mean, for this to be under 200 points, I think is really strong. If people compare these to a Land Raider, and fairly rightfully so, Land Raiders are 240 points ish, so it's a good 50 points more than this. Don't get me wrong, they have more guns, things like that. There's differences. You've got a transport capacity, for example, but I think these guys are still really good value. 9-inch move, I think, is nice. Apparently, I've not spelled that right, but I think that's crazy. Like 8-inch move is good, it's fine, but the 9-inch move is just an extra. I think that comes into play way more than people let on. I always just really appreciate that 9-inch. Toughness 12 and a 2-up armor save is awesome. Does anything suck about them? Not really. I really don't think so. I think they're pretty good. So then, what's my prediction? I think they're going to go up 10 points. I don't think anyone wants to make them more than 200 points. I think 10 points is a good knock on the head. Okay, you're still a bit expensive, but you're all right. So yeah, that's what I'm feeling about Tyrannofexes. What do you reckon, John?
I think they go back to being 2, because obviously they got dropped 10 points the last time. I can see them just going back up 10 points, and you'll still see them being played. Like the points itself doesn't change how useful the unit is. I think the other reason they got a lot better is they generally tank a lot more damage. Whereas when you had multiple Gladiator Lancers running around, you could even though you got to blank 1 damage, the next Lancer would just pick them up, and they were 50 points more for 2 Lancers. And I think like Ironstorm changing helped a lot, because there's a lot less things that can just rock around a corner and just obliterate a Tyrannofex. And then obviously they get to shoot. If whatever shoots it doesn't kill it, they then shoot back. The fact that las cannons wound it on a 4 is massive.
Yeah.
So it means that like your double or triple Predator Destructor CSM lists don't reliably kill it, and then there's a good chance it one taps the Predator on the way back. The Vindicator is unreliable at best. I do think there is a point where it's still going to be good. I just would like it not to be like the default 3 in some lists. Like Nathan Roberts was running 3 of them in Crusher almost religiously for tournaments.
Put yourself in other players' shoes, right? It's oppressive when you've got 3 essentially Land Raider profiles with an anti-tank gun on it. Like that isn't a nice experience. So I imagine these for that reason, as you say, John, it will go up just to encourage people to take 2 or 1.
I
One
still
is
think 2 will be great. Like, honestly, think if they go up to 200 points, banging 2 in your army is still ridiculously hard to kill, depending
yeah,
on what happens to the rest of the format at the same time. I
yeah,
think they're still going to be great. I just don't think at that point you run 3 of them because it's 30, 40. If they go at 15 points, then it's 40. It will depend. I think the power level of the Tyrannofex will be dependent on if we see any other units go up as well that also go in the same list. So
mm,
if say, for example, well, when we get to the next slide, if that monster goes up and the Tyrannofex goes up, you're looking at 50, 60 more points. And it's not necessarily easy to drop points from Tyranid armies because, yeah, sure, you just drop 10 gaunts, but the 10 gaunts also score more points than the Tyrannofex does. So it'd be interesting to see. I think it would be like just that little nickel and dime. We'll have to wait and see. I predict they'll go up. If they don't go up, then I think we're going to be in a world of seeing 3 rupture fexes for a while.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Groovy. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one, and then we'll go to the chat because it's been going off in there. So the Exocrine, the star of the show, the thumbnail star itself. We love them. They've not gone up in points the entire edition,
Nope.
and they've been mainstays of lists the entire time. They are really good. There's not much -3 AP we've got in the army. We've got loads of, or quite a fair bit of damage 3, but it's all AP2, and then you go into something that is, armor contempt and with cover, and all of a sudden you just, ugh. But the Exocrine still peeks over the top of that and says, I've got 3 damage coming to your face. So a lot of love for the Exocrine. We've seen 3 in all sorts of lists. Vanguard lists. We've seen 3 in Sam Pope's Unending Swarm lists. We've seen 3 in Sam Pope's Synaptic Nexus list. Your lists, John, that you did really well with, all had 3. And I think, guys, our luck's got to run out eventually, right? We can't keep missing this, surely. Let's have a look at how many detachments, all the detachments that do well, all the lists that do well in each detachment. How many are they taking? Okay, Assimilation Swarm. There's only 2 lists, but they're in 100% of them. Crusher Stampede in 100% of lists. Invasion Fleet. An Invasion Fleet's got a great diversity of units. 93% of Invasion Fleet lists have this. Synaptic Nexus, 100%. Even Vanguard Onslaught, over 1 in 2 lists had these in. That's so strong. What makes them so great? Blast as well. We undervalue Blast. Blast is amazing. AP3 and damage 3, as I've said. 14 wounds. That's not small amounts, right? A lot of tanks have less than that, but maybe a lot of tanks have toughness 11, fine. But I think I'd rather take the wounds than that 1 point of toughness at this point in time. Unit detachment synergy. There's tons of stuff that this kind of benefits from. That's just awesome. So they they benefit everything else. So they make those rupture cannons reroll ones to hit, etc., etc. It's got a long nose. What I mean by that is you can peek it around a corner and get a really strong angle on something, which is really nice. Does anything suck about them? Yeah, they're toughness 10. Right? I guess if they were toughness 11, that would be miles better, but I'll take T10. The other thing someone mentioned in the chat, actually, OC on these guys is really good as well. So it's 4 OC for this bad boy, and it was 5 for the T-Fex, which is awesome. 7 in Crush Stampede. Very good. So what is my Dataslate prediction here? I think it's between up 10 or 20 points, between 10 and 20. And I think one unit you kind of can have a pseudo comparison with is a Forge Fiend. It's 36-inch range-ish, strength high, -3, 3 damage, blast. Now, don't get me wrong, there are differences. Of course, a Forge Fiend in CSM, where it just gets like sustained hits for fun or whatever, in any of the detachments, is going to be a little bit more expensive. But even if you look at a Forge Fiend in World Eaters for 140 points, yes, it has 3 blast guns, so it gets the blast extra shots 3 times. Its ability is make your opponent take a battle shock test if it hits. I'd rather have reroll ones to hit, please. Thank you very much for everything else that shoots that unit. So, there are swings and roundabouts on it. And that Forge Fiend is 140 points for World Eaters. I think it's fairly reasonably priced. I just think one of the things that makes an Exocrine so compelling to put up is that everyone has 3 of them. Is that because everything else is too expensive? Probably not. I mean, I think there's a big problem with NIDS at the moment. I spoke about it before, in that I started playing NIDS to throw bugs into combat and rip things to pieces, right? That's my dream. I don't want to play a NID gun line. Tyranids, no thank you. I'd rather just get stuck in, cause people issues, do all the combat junk. That's what I'm here for. Bring back 9th edition Tyranid Warriors. That's what I say. Um, but yeah, so I think the Exocrine's probably got to go up for the balance of Tyranids overall. What I do hope though is that if they do put the price up of this, then we do get some concessions on combat somewhere else. What do you reckon?
I think I don't see how the Exocrine can survive another balance data pass without being adjusted. Let's be nice.
I mean, it went up. Its strength of the gun went up in the last balance data slate.
I know.
For
The only,
no
downside,
reason.
the only downside that exists to this unit is it doesn't efficiently kill vehicles, but it's still damage 3. So you get any wounds in on a vehicle, it still chunks them out. It's not like, oh no, I did 2 wounds to your predator and it's had half its wounds taken off. It's just it's so good. The fact that it's in 53% of Vanguard lists, like Haristo almost religiously takes 3 of them in his Vanguard list. As soon as you put 3 things into a Vanguard list that has no synergy with any of the Vanguard models, it's pretty good. And the fact that they're self-sufficient and they buff each other without any detachment synergy requirements is just, I think they are and they definitely go up there with one of the best units in Tyranids, and I do think they are probably due a points increase with every other similar platform having gone up over the last 2 or 3 data patches or data slates. I do see them going up, but this is what I was kind of saying with the T-Fexes. If these go up and a T-Fex goes up, you could be going up 70 points if you took 3 of each, depending on what the points differences is. I think going up 10 points is fine. I think at 145, you're still probably, if you were taking 3 before, you're probably still taking 3.
Oh, you're going underwater again, John.
I think, is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So I think if you're taking 3, then you're going to continue to take 3 at 145. I think if it gets to 150, you might be dropping them down. I'd dropped 1 in my Crusher list because I wanted the Haruspecs. So I think
150 would make me upset.
Well, I think 150 is too much. I think 145 is probably where they might end up, or 140. Yeah. And I think at 140, 145, I wouldn't say you're wrong to drop 1, because I think you can probably still have the same efficiency. And UKTC terrain isn't always favourable to Exocrines. It's one of the interesting kind of dynamics is that, yes, it's 36 inches. It's got a lot of lines of sight, but you can quite easily hide from that model. Whereas I'd been going towards like the triple Maliceptor build, because you're always going to be in the middle with a Maliceptor. It's very hard to not draw line of sight to stuff when you're in the middle. So I think it will be good to see them go up slightly, but I would like to see them go up slightly mostly for internal balance. The side of internal balance, like you can see from the numbers there, they are just an auto-include unit alongside like the Biovore. But the Biovore isn't as egregious. The Biovore's a 50-point unit that just scores secondaries and didn't do anything else. But it moves a little bit. Sorry?
And there's a liability on Purge the 4 and no prisoners and
exactly.
stuff like that. It has pros and cons, eh?
The Exocrine just is great across the board. So I think, I can see these 2 big monsters going up just from their simple play rate. So I'm interested to see what they do. But I can see Exocrines hitting a bit of the nerf bat.
Absolutely. Right, we'll quickly go through the chat and then we'll get into yours, John. So, Guru Karma, thoughts on best attachment for UKTC terrain? Deciding between Invasion or Crusher, as several layouts have 2 choke points with monsters. Well, you're speaking to the right people, because John is Invasion Fleet, all monsters. Who cares about terrain? I'm going to walk around them, it's fine. And I'm Crusher Stampede. I've run through walls for days. So, I prefer Crusher, but I understand that Invasion's really good.
I think the walkthrough wall. So it's interesting. So 3 of the 5 missions walkthrough walls is a nice addition, but it's not an essential because they position the new ruin line in your just outside your deployment zone, so you can walk Invasion Fleet through. I tended to find in Crusher I was advancing and shooting my units less, whereas in Invasion Fleet I tended to be advancing and shooting around the Hive Tyrant a lot more. So I didn't ever. I didn't find any problems, even when I was walking a unit through walls and I still had 9 monsters in the list. I wasn't really struggling to move around the board. And the Hive Tyrant aura is just clutch. It's amazing. So I would say that both of them are as a good option. I would say it's list dependent. I think if you have a Norn, I'd go to more towards Crusher. If you are playing like...
Well, actually, funny story here with this, John. I was going to do a little game at the start of the show about why we need changes, right? I was going to put up 3 lists that have done well in the last 2 weeks. And I was going to say, guess what detachment this is?
Yeah.
And actually, as we've seen with this Exocrine here, I think you could guess almost any detachment with almost any of these lists.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So Crusher Stampede lists look exactly like Invasion Fleet lists. Maybe there's a couple of skews here and there, but the broad average is the same base. Yep. So I think it really comes down to what do you want to play, and B, what do you think is strong? So I mean, Invasion Fleet probably should win your what do you think is strong argument most times because it is very, very good. But if you want to go out there and play something cool, Crusher Stampede does a thing. It also depends on play style. If you don't want to be charging stuff, or you want to kind of, I don't know, be more of a gun line, Invasion Fleet's definitely the one. But then if you want to get into stuff, tank shock, do all that stuff, then Crusher Stampede is really fun. So we'll move on because we are running on. Yes. I've gassed on for too long with my slides. Someone did 12 damage with 1 shot into Magnus with a T-Fex. Well done. Solid work at not laughing at your own 9-inch joke, Davey. Thank you very much, Christopher. Appreciate that. Yeah, talking about the OC being very good. Come on, GW. Let us just have one really efficient borderline broken unit. Yeah, it would be nice to have something like, I don't know, like a cool combo that like a lot of other armies have. We seem to be mid across the board, really. Gargoyles on Neurolictors took the bullet, so our boy could be 135 points. Yeah, you're totally right, AJV there. Exocrines maybe living on the sins of Gargoyles and Neurolictors. Yeah, nice, cool. All right, let's move on to. There's that slide I was going to do. Never mind, it's gone. Oh, hang on. Where's John's? Oh dear. Right.
No.
This has been a really fun stream. Let me just stop sharing that. We'll do that. Right. Well, let's find John's slides. All right, we've found it. Okie dokie. Share screen. I don't think anyone noticed, John. I think it's fine.
Agreed.
Okay, and then why aren't we sharing screen? Okay, man. Yeah, I don't know why this is doing this. Oh dear. So, anyone got any questions in the chat? All right, window. Why are you?
If we just go back through the sort of carry on with the questions. Yep, I agree. Cannons in Heartland is pretty nice. So doing Melon the Exo, I believe it goes up and possibly should do, but a nerf to Tyranids is a nerf to Tyranids as a whole. Not sure it has a replacement in the Codex. I do agree. That's internal balance problems with Tyranids and Exocrines being a little bit too good. But I don't think a 10-point increase is going to massively impact anything. But yeah, no, Christopher's correct. On the other hand, you could build an all Terminator army, all 2-up saves. It'd be interesting. Tyrannofexes, Hive Tyrants. We'll have to see what happens with Hive Tyrant Guard, etc. If they nerf Tauren, if they nerf our good monsters, we go back to a 44% win rate. I'm not sure we go that far down, and we're only talking like 10 points. You'll still see that you'll just have to make space for something else, and I think we probably still drop to maybe a 48 minimum % win rate. Good players will still continue to keep the win rates up. Hive Fleet Prometheus. We do not have enough movement except for Vanguard Onslaught to play 6 combat. I completely agree. The Tyranid army at the moment is very slow, a bit like Davy's computer finding PowerPoint presentations.
I found it. It won't let me share it. It's been really annoying.
That's a disaster. Do you want me to try and share mine?
Yeah, if you can share it from your computer, that would be lovely. Is he going to let you do it?
Let me find it first. Okay, let's see.
Well, I know what we can do while we are waiting for that. I can find my have a look at if anyone has put in some wonderful Dataslate Akkers. That's quite fun. Get that open.
It's not coming up. Interesting. Oh,
Well, we're not letting you share it either.
Let's find out. Share. Let me know if it shows up.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
Right.
Can you full screen that?
Let me hit the button. All right. We're gonna shortcut through this. All right. So
Man.
we got Exocrine.
You know what? We're just going to do it as it is, right? Hang on, because it's showing your. Let me do that. So it's not full screen. I think you have to do it full screen and then share it.
Right. Let's go. Let's try that. Give me 2 seconds. Let's drop that out of the way.
Guys, YouTube's easy. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Why would we ever worry about that? Right. Let's go with this. Is that sharing full screen?
I'd seen.
Woo!
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Get in.
Make sure we get to. Okay. So we're at Exocrines now. All right. So.
Yeah. So next one.
So where it crashes my computer because it's running out of CPU. Cool. So let me just close some stuff down in the background. Cool. So the key thing with mine is I was focused on sort of some more of the more random units that we haven't seen for a long time, potentially used to be good. So first one, I would like to see Hive Guard be actually good again. Or at least playable, because right now, as I'm sure you'll see, and you're going to see this on a couple of my slides, they have a 0% pick rate in every single detachment you can run in. So the simple answer why they suck. They have bad rules, they're way too expensive, and they have pitiful AP. When your anti-tank gun has AP1 in a meta where cover is like candy, it's so easy to find. AP1 just doesn't do anything anymore, and they're not devastating wounds either. So your anti-vehicle, great. Your damage 3, great. But you don't do any wounds because you're AP1, and then they have a cover save. So I think a big thing for me is they are what they have is still good. So they have indirect anti-infantry, which is something we do really miss. One of the challenges I'm sure a lot of Tyranid players have who don't play Vanguard Onslaught is getting to your opponent's 10 cultists that have stickied the home objective and clearing them out. And they sit there all game and they're super annoying. Hive Guard were always able to clear them out. They do have good anti-vehicle weapons. It's a multi-shot anti-vehicle weapon. Damage 3 is awesome, and it overwatches on a 5+, or it overwatches on a 4+ if the Hive Guard unit is on an objective. Now, obviously, one of the big hits they did take was the changes to overwatching, where you couldn't overwatch with an indirect fire unit. Obviously, it impacted loads of things, but Hive Guard basically just completely killed the unit. So, how do we make them better? Is 75 points too low for them as they currently are?
Oh, I don't think it is,
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because they're 100 points at the moment.
Are they much better than Tyranid warriors with guns?
Well, we'll get to them in a minute. Stop sneaking around the slides.
Sorry, no, but genuinely, I think in terms of like mid-bug shooting,
I agree.
Yeah, 75 points would be reasonable for these.
Like 75 points for 3, I think you would see a unit of 3 with maybe the Impaler weapons just to try and pick off your opponent's backfield unit over a couple of turns. It can be really good because
you mean the outer line of sight ones?
Yeah, the outside.
The only thing with those, aren't they range 24?
Yeah, but 24 is quite a long way still.
Yeah,
it's with the new terrain layout. They're also good at just like picking off your opponent's 5-man scout unit that went and stood on an objective.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
because generally they're going to be within 24 inches. They're just fine. And another option is you increase the AP to both weapons. You still probably have to decrease the points still, but if you give, say, the shot cannon AP3 or AP2 rather than AP1, I think you have a unit that might see a bit more play. Could you give them a 2-up save? At least then you can walk them out in the open. Like at the moment, they have a T7 3-up save and they kind of just fall over. But also the other option I was thinking about is thinking back to Ninth Edition. When they
underwater again
was when they got buffed by other units. So, for example, if you had a unit that could draw line of sight, you could synaptically link them, and you would then get an extra AP or something. It was an idea, something a bit different. I just think that they just need a bit of they don't need a rework of the unit. They need a rework of what the weapons they have because they're just pitiful right now.
Yeah.
So that was my first one. Your thoughts, Davey?
Yeah, I think I totally agree. Really interesting. I was thinking like a couple of points down, but actually, if you made these 75 points, yeah, I'd probably take them. But I'm not sure. That would be 450 points for 18 of them. They're all firing direct, but pretty mediocrely.
Strength 5, AP 1, damage 1.
Yeah, not very good, but that's a lot of wounds, right? They're 4 wounds each.
Yeah. They have the same wound profile as a hive guard, as a tyrant guard. Sorry.
Yeah, they just go out and clog up the mid board, right? I suppose.
Yeah,
But
6
I don't know.
is a lot of wounds.
It's a lot of wounds. What is it? 24? 24 wounds.
4 wounds, yeah, 24 wounds per unit.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
They don't do anything.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
It's because when AC/DC units are big, I always look at the Hive Guard unit and go, I wish this wasn't 200 points because this could be a viable answer to, or one of the viable options to killing.
It's not a blast gun, is it?
No, but it's 4 shots per model. So it's 24 shots per unit. With if you're taking them in invasion fleet, it's sustained 1. You just mop up the units. It's pretty good. And a strength 5. So, next one. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Von Ryan's Leapers.
What? Are you crazy, JP?
I am. But if you look at the numbers, I'm probably the only one. 0% play rate in the simulation, 0% play rate in Crusher, 16.67 in Invasion Fleet, nothing in Synaptic Nexus, and only 43 and nearly 44% in Vanguard.
In their detachment, yeah.
In their detachment. So, in my opinion, why they suck. They're poor AP. They have too much competition, lictors, gene stealers. Which would you rather take? And they've not got a loan op. So they're made of paper. Because they've got the gene stealers, for example, you get more models for less. You get a 5-up invuln rather than a 6-up invuln. They don't move a lot faster, and with advance and charge 8 inches with this 8-inch scout move is generally good. And they just feel anemic compared to a lot of the other things. What do we like? They're great for killing chaff. They absolutely murder opposing chaff units. They're fast-moving infiltrators. They move 10 inches and they infiltrate. And they fight first. So they're a nightmare to shift out of buildings for anything that's not like a dedicated combat unit.
They have so many amazing keywords. Fight first, free heroic. There's the other one, I can't think what it is. Stealth. Stealth, right?
Yeah, they've got stealth. They infiltrate.
6 attacks
Yep.
each. They've got the same amount of attacks as a Hive Tyrant. I've got, albeit not as good as a Hive Tyrant, but you get my point, right? There's a lot to like about these, but I think you bang on with the AP. I think the AP is the thing that makes it sad. But the problem is, you put them to AP. So imagine you put them to AP2. Then you've got Warriors, Gene Stealers, and Von Ryan's Leapers, all with the same profile.
Exactly. So I was having to think about how to make them better. If you left them the same, could you just decrease the points? Does making 3 of them 60 points give you more play with them?
5 scouts is 60 points, right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Still probably take the scouts. So, or you can increase the AP to them. But they've got the react. They've got scout. They've got infiltrate. They pick up and drop. They've upsy downsy. They're just.
Oh, they don't have scout though. No, they don't have scout, right?
Oh, sorry. I thought
they got infiltrate though.
Could you give them loan op?
Oh, sorry. The scouts. The scouts have scout. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. So you increase the AP of the melee attacks, make them actually fight and hurt. Loan op potentially, or do you give them a better invuln? Right, there's all little things you can do. I think that you could tweak the points slightly and give them something else without making them oppressive or good or anything else. But I would like to see Von Ryan. But bearing in mind, Von Ryans were one of the brand new units that came out in 10th edition, and they are unplayed.
Yeah, and they're so like you look at Raveners. Raveners are so similar. They don't have the keywords, but they have the same profile. Yep. They have one more attack, but they up and downy. And up and down is pretty good. So there's so much competition in this space, and it's really difficult. So like, I wish they'd put Warriors. Here's my thing: Warriors, melee Warriors, damage 2.
Yeah.
Right, and then you've got I mean, I don't know how they have to balance that somehow, but
You'd lose some number of attacks per model.
Yeah, 100%. And then you get the Von Rein's Leapers at AP2 damage 1, and then away you go.
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the biggest challenges I've picked up and through all of this thinking about it is the internal balance of Tyranids. It's pretty shocking if you think about it, because we almost have too many units now, and some of them are so much better than everything else that you don't ever take another option. It's like, for example, the Exocrine is unplayable, despite the fact it's been, and same with the Screamer Killer, they've been gradually decreased in points cost, and they're still unplayed. The Exocrine, the Maleceptor, the Tyrannofex, they're the only things you see. You've got all these other units that have continually decreased in points, and they just don't see play. And I think it's kind of one of those unfortunate things that you almost have to nerf better stuff and ignore the win rate drop to then build up the rest of the codex and then take it back up again. Like, it's almost one of the ones where you have to inadvertently nerf it to make it better. Because you need that diversity of units.
100%. Cool. What's next, man?
Next one. Tyranid Warriors with guns.
Yeah.
0% pick rate across the whole thing. Points of attack. I'm not joking. I looked at them. I'm like, these are 65 points.
They should be good. They're OC2. They're OC2. They fall back, shoot, and charge, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't survive combat because they've got a 4-up armor save.
I know. It's literally, they compare so poorly to every other option. Even at 65, 10 points more, you're going to take melee warriors all the time, every single time. But the things we do like, they are T5 with 3 wounds. Like, T5's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. They can skirmish well into other scoring units. Like, they've got a decent gun. It's an average gun. It's an average melee profile, and they have a decent OC for cheapest points. I would love to see this entire data sheet get reworked because it is awful right now. The guns are rubbish. The melee's rubbish. They aren't survivable. And I just think that they're the fallback shoot and charge doesn't matter when they get picked up in one go, or you kill half the unit and they don't do anything when they fall back.
Could you imagine taking a 6-man of these? It'd be so bad.
I know. So the things I could look at is basically my greatest opinion of this unit, and I think this unit falls into the Harpy category, that they just need a datasheet rework. Like, Games Workshop need to sit down and just redo the datasheet. Or change the rules to allow them to have a different style of play. Advance an action. Be great to have a unit that could advance an action.
People would be quite upset about that, John.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but it could be cool.
No. They need something. I think where they stand, right? They stand towards the back of, a good 24 inches away or something like that, while your other units get in combat. Maybe they've got an aura, buff aura, or something like that for non-synapse units or something like that. I mean, you look at them in Space Marine 2, right? They kind of hang around. They do some stuff.
Exactly.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I think if you drag them down to be like 50 points, you'd probably see them.
Yeah, you would.
I think you would actually start as they are now. I think you could improve them slightly, cost them at 50 points, and they'd see maybe 25% play. Just because it's then a 50-point, 12-wound T5 unit that can go and sit on an objective with OC6, do actions, and just be super annoying because they are vaguely resilient. Like, again, we talked about it earlier with the Psychophage benefit is the T9. You can't just bolter it to death. You can't bolter these to death either. T5 does make it quite difficult. I think they'd be priced accordingly. Cool. So, should we go to the last one?
Yeah, that's right.
The big daddy, the Hive Tyrant and the Winged Hive Tyrant. Now,
John, what are you talking about? Hive Tyrants are in every list nearly.
Well, you say that. So Hive, but it's still okay. This is one of the ones where I think you can still buff them, decrease the points, even though they see play in a lot of armies, because I think they are a necessity in armies to make Tyranids functionally better. But I still think they cost way too many points. So. Detachment take-up. So assimilation is 100% Hive Tyrant, no Winged Hive Tyrant. Crusher, 71 on a Hive Tyrant, no Winged Hive Tyrant. Invasion Fleet, 76% for the Hive Tyrant, 3% for a Winged Hive Tyrant. Synaptic Nexus, 80%, nothing on the Winged Hive Tyrant. And then Vanguard is 20% Hive Tyrant, Winged Hive Tyrant, 37.5%.
I won't lie, I'm surprised the Winged Hive Tyrant's so high.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it? So why they suck. and I can't argue because I think they do suck, their mediocre output for their points. They are 235 points for the Foot Hive Tyrant, and it does nothing in combat.
6 attacks, AP2, the same AP as a Gene Stealer's left finger.
That's my problem.
They should be AP3.
Yeah. They're also very expensive for what they do. So if you imagine that your Rupturefex, which has a 2-up save, T12, 16 wounds, blanks one, and has a relevant gun, is 45 points cheaper than a Hive Tyrant. Just let that sink in.
Yeah,
I think are almost the same points as a Land Raider.
Yes, yeah, that's a lot.
And I know that we have the free stratagem, the assault and lethals aura, and the combat for the Winged Hive Tyrant. But it's 235 points and 215. 210. It's just ridiculous the amount of points you spend. But what do we like? 2-up, 4-up, 2-up armor save, 4-up invulnerable save, and a free strat. They're also not that tough. T10 isn't that good, and 10 wounds. They are very easy to get rid of, unfortunately. And I just think that they don't match up their points with what you get. And I think you could decrease the Hive Tyrant, and you'd still only see one of them in a list, but you'd be able to get other things.
It's one of those ones you have to be really careful, right? Because obviously the free strats is very dependent on the detachment, right? So it might be 240 in this detachment, but it might be 280 in another one, for example, like for the worth you get from it.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, it can wear a enhancement, which could make it unkillable or could make it just overly powered. But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So then they're very versatile and awesome enabling rules. The enabling rules on the Hive Tyrants are amazing.
The versatile are doing not much. They're versatile. They're like a jack of all trades, master of none. But
yeah, and that's the problem. Because even when you fully tool up a Hive Tyrant with full melee, it's 10 attacks, they're all AP2, and it doesn't do a lot of damage.
It does nothing.
So how do you make it better? I think I was a bit extreme on this. So I think you could in theory drop the Winged Hive Tyrant 20 points or 30 points, and it would be good. And I don't think it would be broken, but I think you would definitely see them. And I think that Winged Hive Tyrant needs to be sub 200 points at some point to see any sort of play. It's just way too expensive at the moment. And then you bring the Hive Tyrant down again, just because it's too expensive. Or you bring back the double stacking buffs, which they nerfed in the last. Obviously, they nerfed in 10th in Pariah Nexus. I would love to see them bring back the ability to double stack buffs. I think that makes the Hive Tyrants much more worthwhile.
What do you mean by that? Sorry, double stack buffs?
So before you could target a unit with the 5 Feel No Pain stratagem, and then you could target another unit within 12 of the Hive Tyrant for free with the same stratagem. And obviously that in Pariah Nexus, where you couldn't use the same stratagem twice with a 0 ability. It was one of the things that I think actually made the Hive Tyrants like really good, was that you could give 2 things a 5 at Feel No Pain, whereas now you can only do it once. And increase the AP to the melee attacks. Why the Hive Tyrant's monstrous bone sword has AP2 is beyond me. It makes
it's the same as one normal bone sword.
Yeah, it's the same AP as a Gene Stealer's left pinky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough.
As
if we didn't have enough AP2 in melee.
Exactly. I would honestly, if it was AP3, I think it would be great, and I don't think it would be broken. But I think you'd actually be able to fight in melee a lot better.
Yeah, it becomes a scary melee monster. And again, to hark to Space Marine 2 again, right? Space Marine 2, you fight one of these things, and it's an absolute weapon, and you can't tell me that is just depiction of something that has 6 attacks.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And that's it.
That is it. All right, guys, and we're going to quickly run through the old chatteroo here. Oops, let's make our faces slightly smaller. All right, so if they give each EXO 10 points each, our win rate goes down 2 percentage points easy. I mean, Hive Fleet Prometheus, that's keen mathematics there. Again, they're going to put if they put it up, they've got to do something else. So to make things a little bit better for melee, for sure. Donald Cowie, the sin of being an evil army in the starter box for this edition. Yeah, but you know what? I think there's a lot to be said about them learning, and I don't think they get enough praise for actually how good things are at the moment. Like it's never been as good.
I completely agree. As much as we can wax lyrical over how we'd love this and how we'd love that, the format right now is so good.
Yeah,
in terms of balance across the. But sure, there's some things that are quote unquote OP, but we're looking at a 56% win rate OP versus the 75 we've had in the past.
100%. And I was talking to someone today about it. The lists that are good now would be wiped off the table this time last year. Yes. And And that's the context you've got to think of. Yes, maybe we get, say the Exocrine goes up and we don't get anything. Yes, we do get worse. But you've got to imagine they've probably thought about that. And everyone else will be getting slightly worse or whatever as well. So it's all about context. Excuse me. I had a curry for dinner, if anyone's interested. Christopher Richardson, has John's beard got longer the longer he's been doing Bug Watch?
Probably. A few more grey hairs as well.
Yeah. What we got? I actually think Lichter's more likely to get a point increase for 55 points. I agree. I think a lot of them are going up. I think I would be still happy at them at 65.
I'd be sad if they go up to 6. I think they could go to 60. I don't think you'd be again, it's the comparison to the Neuralictor. The closer you put the Lictor to the Neuralictor, the less reason there is to take a Lictor. So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah. Just a reminder I'll put a link in the chat for the Dataslate prediction sheet. So go on there. Just a free game that we're all playing in the Discord. You can put in your predictions, and we'll compare them at the end of the this mini edition, I suppose. Donald Cowie question. So I got Leaper's type 500 point list for boarding action. Oh, dude, you're asking the wrong people. I mean, I don't think have you ever played boarding actions, JP?
What is boarding action?
Oh, right. Sorry. I think he's got, right. Okay. So he got Leapers in boarding actions, and now he's wondering if 1,000 points or 2,000 points is any good. Man, with NIDS at the moment, everything's half decent. I think you can make Von Ryan's Leapers work. I think there's some really cool ways you can make them work. You can set up heroic interventions, things like that, which are quite cool. You can wait until your opponent's about to charge you, and then rapid ingress them at the side of the board, and then you get a free heroic, and yeah, really nice. But there's tons of things you can do. I think with Von Ryan's Leapers, if you want to build around them, just check that data sheet and then build around those amazing abilities and those keywords. Ravenous also have twin linked, very true, AJB. They do have twin linked, and that makes them very good. The only model really being used in the box is the Neurotyrant. Do you like Neurotyrants, John?
No, but that's just me.
I'm a big fan. Make Warriors as good as Space Marine 2 ones. Yeah, I've not played it, but I did watch. I can't afford a new PlayStation, so I just wanted to watch it on YouTube, and I watched all the videos.
Nice.
My computer game days are in the bin, unfortunately.
Oh no.
Yeah, someone did say before about making weapon skills and ballistic skills a bit better. Maybe that's a way of doing Hive Guard, perhaps. It is weird that they hit on 4s.
I agree.
Yeah, a bit odd. Cool. And I think we're pretty much through everything. Assimilation from Hive Fleet Prometheus. Assimilator, please, minus 50 points. I don't think you'll get minus 50, but I think minus 20, minus 30 maybe, because they've got to realise that it's just not as good as the Norn. And if you look at the document, if you look at dirt sheets, you'll see that they're just not taken like Norn. Like Norn emissaries are taken a bit. Assimilators are just not taken.
Yeah. I do agree. I think that we do. I think if you're going to increase the heavy excuse me. I think if you're going to increase the played monsters, you have to decrease the unplayed monsters. I think the Toxicrin could go down another 10, and it still probably doesn't play. Although wicked stat line and a pretty useful ability as well, holding things in combat. But we'll see.
Absolutely right. And then before we go, guys, I just want to look at this data sheet, Akka, and see what people have put, see what hot takes people have got, John, and see what you think of their takes. So we have Chris Cadd thinks Pyrovores should be buffed. What do you think?
No. I think that unit is, well, I suppose it's how you buff it. I think the unit has a place. It's a 35-point single drop. I think if you buff it too much, then you just see armies with 9 of them in 3x3 from Strat Reserve, and it just does too much damage still. Yeah. It's an auto-hitting flamer with twin linked. I am always worried about Pyrovores being too good, but I would like to see potentially... It's hard. I think you could increase the points and give them a second pip of AP, but I think they're in a pretty useful place right now. I'd like them to just move 6 inches.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Like, why can they not just move 6 inches?
All right, John, we're going to rapid fire it here. Right, John, do you agree Death Leaper should go down 10 points?
Yes.
Screamer Killer down 10 points?
At least maybe 15.
Screamer Killer 15?
It's 145 points and doesn't see any play.
Yeah, true.
It's up against the Harrow specs, and which would you rather take?
Should Gene Stealers get... High Fleet Phil thinks Gene Stealers should be nerfed. What do you think?
No.
No.
One detachment unit.
The Doom Melon is praying on a hope and a prayer that Hive Crones and Harpies will be buffed. What do you think?
They need a data slate. They need a data sheet rework and a points decrease. I think.
Lictor Z Haruspecs buff. What do you think?
Give it a second AP on its basic attack, so it goes to AP2. It might actually kill things.
I think it just needs to get there. I think when it kills things when it gets there. But boy,
you have to strategize it. I'd love it to move 10 inches. That'd be great. It would actually be useful.
Yeah. Stan Parasite and Mortrex.
Decrease points. Still unplayable.
Yeah.
It's not unplayable. It's not, but you're playing it. You're pairing it with lictors and stuff, and the lictor's just better.
Yeah, this is true. I have thought about a Parasite. The fact that it gives up Assassinate is pretty hard to take. Yep. Slops thinks that Hive Tyrant needs a nerf.
I disagree. I humbly disagree. Strongly.
Fair. And then units to buff from Connor. I think that's 6++ Connor thinks Gargoyles should get a buff. What do you think?
No. That unit cannot get touched. That unit cannot be made any better. Otherwise, you'll never see anything else.
Yeah, I think we've all learned that lesson. What were they originally? Were they like 70 points?
They were 65 or 70.
65. Yeah,
I can't remember. They might have been about 70 points, but it was just like you didn't take anything else. Like you would try to take something else, then you just realise that the gargoyle is just better.
They were good times. All right, guys, cool. I think that's us for this evening. Thank you very much for listening. There's a good, I believe, 45 of you watching, which is awesome. This is good. We like this. We're looking to continue doing live shows again and a couple of recorded ones here and there. I imagine if we do get a data slate next week, we'll be doing a show. Whether or not we can both make it is a different question, but we'll find out. We obviously want to give you the hottest takes possible. But please like and subscribe to the channel. Please enter the ACCA. It's good fun. Good, honest fun, and you might get your name shouted out if you win. Also, if you lose, if you're the worst, I'll probably shout your name out as well. So there is that threat hanging over your head. What else to talk about? We've got the Discord. The Discord link is in the description below. Discord link is full of very cool people, and we all chat and talk about Tyranids, and that's it really. Also, we have the league starting. If you're a member of the channel, you can join the league and play against cool people like Josie Cartwright from Team England. You can play against Tom Lohman. You can play against our captain, Chris Tull, for example. You might even play against me. I'm probably not taking Tyranids this time. I took them last time. So I'm thinking about taking a bit of a meme list. As soon as I went to the final last time, I'm thinking about taking a bit more meme list. I might take Fellhammer from the CSM Codex.
Is that the one with -1 to wound?
-1 to wound against only shooting attacks.
Decent.
But cool rule, cool stratagem, right? 1 CP. Every unit that does a wound to you, you roll a dice for every wound you take, and in combat, and on a 4-up they take mauls, right?
That's good.
Take loads of 10-mans and just touch as many units as possible, and then get punched in the face, and then give them all mauls.
I love it.
Seems reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you next time on Bugwatch. Have a good one. Goodbye.